Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we are going to discuss, or I'm going to try and discuss, Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. Now, this book is extraordinary. It is mind-blowing, it is revolutionary, it is readable, it is engaging, it is utterly transformative, and it is mind-blowingly intelligent and provocative, and yet this is all conveyed in the simplest, most engaging words and text possible. That I'm going to try and convey how extraordinary this book is in something approaching a sensible length of a book review. Because the truth is, you have probably heard by word of mouth how good this book is. It is a non-fiction book, a whopping 500 pages plus footnotes, that has already sold over 1 million copies and has become talked about as one of the most fascinating, brilliant books you can buy, and is being recommended left, right and centre. How is it possible that such a seemingly unattractive book about the whole of human history in 500 pages has become such a phenomenon? Now, many of you know I have read and reviewed Homo Deus, which is actually kind of almost a sequel to Sapiens. So maybe I've done this in the wrong order, but we're going to talk about Sapiens today. Oh my goodness, how am I going to convey this? Yuval Noah Harari takes the whole length of Homo sapiens history, from its origins as just one of many, as just a very inconsequential, unremarkable member of the Homo section of the world that it was living in, against a far broader spectrum of animals that dominated the planet at the time, and how this unremarkable creature, Homo sapiens, has in such a short time become the most dominant, terrifying and critical animal, organism, element that has ever existed on Earth. And what's fascinating about this is often when we look at history, you and I, we look backwards and we see everything that has happened today as being an inevitable consequence of everything that has gone in the past. And that can be anything from Second World War, to the Industrial Revolution, to the French Revolution, to whatever great event, the American Civil War. We always see it as an inevitable consequence of what was going on at the time and what was happening in that environment. We say, oh, of course there's going to be a war, of course there's going to be a revolution. What's interesting about Yuval Noah Harari's approach, and this is critical, is he goes to the beginning and looks forward. And what that means is he is able to demonstrate in the most extraordinary way how random and yet how important it is to analyse how Homo sapiens was to overcome the most extraordinary odds and the sort of various inevitabilities, but also random consequences and random events that were out of the control of Homo sapiens to dominate the way we have today. Because Homo sapiens, we just assume, well, of course we're going to dominate the planet. We were always brighter, more brilliant than any of our ancestors or any of those we were competing with at the time. But that is not the truth, because Homo sapiens were not the only only humans on Earth. There was Homo erectus, there was Homo denisora, apologies if I said the wrong, but there were also others. We were just one of many in the Homo sphere. Plus, we were not as strong as the animals that are around us. We were not as big as them. They could crush us. They could kill us easily. We did not have anything that particularly marked us out from our ancestors, the chimpanzees at the time. We had small communities. We were foragers. How is it that these very simple creatures eradicated all competition and took over as master? Because that is extraordinary, and that is the excitement in Yuval Noah Harari's writing, is that he takes and proves how Homo sapiens evolved and what was crucial in their evolution that made them eradicate, deliberately or accidentally, laid waste to all competition. and how actually even Homo sapiens, how we applaud our cleverness today, of course, we are the main destructive force on this planet, and how we are sowing the seeds for our own, well, we have sown the seeds for our own destruction, and how indeed the era of sapiens is now almost at a close. And that, of course, takes us on to Homo Deus and the book that I've already reviewed, which is how the destruction of Homo sapiens is going to come about, and how our pursuit of science and perfection and the ultimate answers to all questions is ultimately going to destroy us. Skynet is coming. So anyway, Sapiens. I'm going to keep this really concise because I really want you to read it. It's engaging, the text is alive. But what I loved about this was how Yuval Noah Harari really brought out that it was Homo sapiens' ability to believe in something bigger than themselves. It was the remarkable and almost bizarre trait that Homo sapiens have to believe a lie, to believe a fiction, to believe in something intangible. Whether that's a religious god, whether that's a belief system, communism, capitalism, whether it's even nationalism, just the sense of a community that somehow people who look like us, who we've never met, who live hundreds and thousands of miles away, we can still believe that we're in a community with them, and that somehow we can sublimate our own individual needs for the greater good of that community, even though we've never met them. Now that's really, it's uncommon, unknown in the animal kingdom to have anything larger than the community that animals can see around them. That instinctive ability to act as a community with people, with animals they cannot see but who actually look like them, doesn't exist. And of course that's how Homo sapiens has managed to harness its ability as a community to not only grow, to not only grow in numbers, but also to pursue, challenge the very boundaries of their community, and also to work together to therefore become more effective and overcome their very obvious physical failings, in that they're not the strongest, they're not the fittest in the animal kingdom. And it is this ability to believe that Yuval Noah Harari finds in the earliest examples of our ancestors all the way up to today. The human race, Homo sapiens, is so willing to believe a lie. And that is just fascinating, that has been the key to our success, and of course the key to our problems. That's a very simplistic, but it's also probably the biggest theme in this book. But there is so much more that's fascinating about the examination of what it is to be Homo sapiens, how we've always been cruel, how we've always exterminated our enemies, and even this sort of very, very early examples of genocide. This is not a common or recent thing. We can go back to our really earliest ancestors and see our terrible acts when we come in face to face with competition, that we don't seek to create community all the time. If we seek something that is a threat to us, we come across something, we will exterminate it and kill. We just kill on a massive scale. And yet we're able to create something so nurturing for those that we see in our community that we recognize. The imagined community, this perception of an imagined community, has been the key to Homo sapiens. Anyway, this book is extraordinary. It is essential if you have any interest in the human race at all. It is a brilliantly executed examination of who we are, of our behaviors, and it's taking out all emotion or irrationality and really examines from the evidence how Homo sapiens has evolved. And Yuval Noah Harari is really interesting because this is a guy who is willing to tackle on grey areas where there is conflict in data, because Homo sapiens, we are irrational. And he shows us moments in our long history where it's not clear how we won this particular battle. Because human beings are irrational. We do irrational things. And sometimes people think that the line of history is straight, but human beings are stupid. We do stupid things for stupid reasons. And he's able to see this right from the earliest days. I love this book. Oh my God, I'm overrunning. This book, Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari, I would recommend in a heartbeat. It is not dry, it is not inaccessible, it is invigorating text, and there's a wonderful dry sense of humour that Yuval Noah Harari weaves into his writing. And I wholeheartedly recommend this. And please, if you finish this, and you will finish it if you haven't started yet, I know you will, please read Homo Deus. This is the past and the present. Homo Deus is our present and our future. Read and enjoy.